What a perfect place to have a music festival, though, right?
Beyond perfect.
I mean, you have the resort right there, which I'm looking at in the background, which accommodates as many people, whatever the
Yeah.
number is of people who want to come, they can stay right there.
Yeah.
And then we set the stage up right outside, literally looking up the mountain. I mean, it is absolutely like perfect for this type of event.
We are here to discuss Music on the Mountain, which last year's event, in my opinion, was verging on perfect. Even the rain that came through just made for a beautiful. Did we get a rainbow?
I don't remember if we did, but we'll go with that for now. There was definitely a rainbow.
I like the story. Pretty sure there was a rainbow.
Yes, definitely a rainbow. Right as Anders was finishing his set, it was amazing.
We actually hired a company that for Soldier Field that produces rainbow.
The pink sky.
We heard it was doable, so we went with that.
Bill, you are the music director for the Phoenix?
Correct.
Yes.
Yes, so I've been involved in all the music activities for the last 4 years at the Phoenix. Coincidentally, you mentioned Anders. It all started where he and I launched a program called Send Me a Friend going back to 2017. And during the pandemic, we partnered with the Phoenix the Phoenix has huge reach and a huge number of folks that are part of our network. So that initially was to elevate that program. And since then, the Phoenix has done a lot of activations in the music space, from Newport Folk to Jazz Fest. This one's special, though, because this is our own event, produced by us, across the board, and obviously in partnership with the Divided Sky folks. So really, really special event.
Chris, you're taking on a bigger role this year, right?
Yeah, so last time we spoke, I was a regional manager, which meant I oversaw the Phoenix's volunteer-led programming and staff, basically from Connecticut to Georgia. And with the successes of Music on the Mountain and some other music events that I've been lucky enough to work with Bill on, they decided to expand the what they're calling the signature events department. So I'm the senior manager of signature events now, which means I get to work really closely with my good buddy Bill here and some other people on our team, and kind of really focus on the stuff that really fills my cup. So I'm really excited about it.
Yeah.
Well, and this whole partnership really was initially set in motion by Chris. We worked with Divided Sky going back a couple of years now on the run part of the weekend, which is still very much a part of it.
Right.
So Chris got to know those folks early on, right when they were launching as a nonprofit, and we supported their annual fun run, which will take place same day as Music on the Mountain in the morning. So that has continued to be part of the overall weekend every year. But that was Chris who got that ball moving.
Yeah, which is kind of fun because that was not even, Vermont wasn't even my region as a regional manager. So that was me being like, hey, this is something I really want to do. I'm going to do this in my spare time, if there was any spare time.
Yeah.
And now it pays off because now I get to do this for my job.
Well,
So
and
extra.
And thank you for recognizing that possible partnership, because like I told you guys last year up there, this is my hometown. This is where I'm from. So the fact that you guys are bringing this to this weird little boring town that I grew up in is, to me, like magic.
But what a perfect place to have a music festival, though, right?
Beyond perfect.
I mean, you have the resort right there, which I'm looking at in the background, which accommodates as many people, whatever the number is of people who want to come, they can stay right there.
Yep.
And then we set the stage up right outside, literally looking up the mountain. I mean, it is absolutely perfect for this type of event.
The buildings create an amphitheater, which is just amazing. Yeah. We were wandering about quite a ways up the mountain last year, and it's still beautiful. You can hear the sound nice mixed with the birds and the kids laughing with the parachute down off the
I'll say
side.
too, like Vale and Okemo has been extremely pleasant to work with too. They've been super supportive and like recognizing our vision after what happened, after the event last year, how well it went, and like recognizing the opportunity here to really do something cool. So shout out to Okemo and Vale for their support.
For sure.
Yes.
It is a beautiful area up there, and I think, it's at a time of year where it's not summer yet, ski season's over, so we're able to kind of, roll in there and really have the place to ourselves, which is not always the case when you're going to a music festival, right? You're dealing with often a lot of
Especially at a resort. Yeah.
Exactly, a lot of logistical hassles potentially. This couldn't be more seamless. The timing of it, the place, the people who are involved, the community in Ludlow, which has really embraced it. It's special.
I was just going to say, the local economy has to love this because that's a dead time of year. There's nothing going on.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's
so to have a little
perfect time of year.
Yeah. All right. So last year, the music blew me away. Actually, you guys have now invited me to 2 events. And I have to say, they're like 2 of the coolest music events I've ever been to. Last year's Music on the Mountain, like seeing Dogs in a Pile, who I love. Unfortunately, I'm not happy Sam was sick, but it was such a riot to see them like play past the bass through their whole set, and then mixing in all the local guys and finishing with Anders. It was unbelievable. And this year, it's almost like you guys custom made this for me personally.
We did.
There it is.
It's really cool.
Yeah, that's the secret. We weren't going to let it out, but we did. We got your Spotify playlist and we just ran with it.
Yes.
The one piece of that lineup that is important to note that I think really is essential to making this event a success is that they're all connected in some way to the broader mission, whether or not they have an experience with recovery and mental health, whether or not they've performed, with Trey/Fish, so there's a connection there, so there's just a lot, and I think the artistry that we have, that to me, it's like if you're going to put the effort into creating something like this, it's got to be quality, and we're able to we're an independent operation here on a relatively small budget to create a community of musicians who can come together under the banner of this is a cause that is important and we're all on board to support it.
Heck yeah. And for me being on the outside looking in, just as a fan in the scene, you've kind of selected, these people are already a community and part of the community, like you said. And so looking at the lineup, it's like, oh, I'm going to go hang out with everybody I want to go hang out with.
And Jimmy, we were talking about the other event that you came to us in Asbury. Yeah. How cool to have the whole Sun Ra Orchestra coming out to Vermont. That's that's the cherry on top to have them this year.
Oh,
well, that one, let me take a minute to talk about that. Yeah. The Sun Ra Orchestra, for anyone listening that is not familiar, who has not seen them, in my opinion, is one of the most special musical experiences on planet Earth, bar none. This goes back to the 1950s. This ensemble essentially created the whole concept of Afrofuturism. Before George Clinton was in a mothership, Sun Ra was, out in space. And the music is simply beautiful. It is, at the same time, innovative, funky, spiritual. It rings every bell of mine musically, and it's a 15-piece
comedy.
Yeah, it's a 15.
You're making me laugh.
It's a 15-piece orchestra who are playing some of the deepest music you're ever going to hear. So that alone, to me, and having worked with that band over the years, knowing some of those guys, they are special people. And you want to talk about commitment to a greater cause, they are all in the history. I would encourage anybody who's not familiar to dig into a little bit of the history of that band, and it's just absolutely fascinating.
Seeing them there and then sort of doing my own deep dive after, because it just blew me away.
And that was 4 of them. We've got 15 coming to Music on the Mountain. We sort of this year went the route, like for the headliner, why don't we put together more of an all-star ensemble?
Okay.
Which is going to be great. But like, you know, figuring out logistics of how we get the band aligned, what songs are going to be played, as well as how we're listing it and all that. That was quite a journey to land where we finally landed with the poster, you know, and who is put where and how we explain what the day looks like. But basically, that's an all-star band that will be closing out with a 90-plus minute set.
These are some of the best musicians alive. Like I said, they're all kind of seem like they're part of the same community. They obviously know each other, played together before in different capacities. But a big chunk of the band is Trey's.
And Vermont-based, too. That was also...
Yes.
That's another part of it when you think about doing an independent festival like this. Like, okay, who's the audience? Who's going to come to this? As you know, Ludlow is relatively remote. And
it's centrally located, too.
But yeah, exactly. Like you can get there within an hour or so from a lot of different metropolitan areas, whether it's Albany, Burlington, Boston, even New York. That's not a... So... you know, we realize that it's essential for people in Vermont to embrace this, right? Like that is the key audience. And this year, having some really strong Vermont talent on that lineup, we're already seeing just in ticket sales how that is resonating. So that was an important part of our thinking when we said, all right, here's our budget. Who do we want to bring to this? And we wanted to make sure Vermont was, you know, strongly represented.
Speaking of which, I actually, luckily enough, I had the opportunity to hang out with Evan Jennison a little bit last night and hear about his journey. Like, just this week, he's recorded an album. He's been on. He opened up Ari Fink's new studio or venue up in New York, and then he was with me last night in Red Bank. I mean, that kid is really amazing, really growing, and really humble, man. Like, just like a cool dude and talented musician.
When you say last night in Red Bank,
yeah,
Trey played last night.
Yeah, Trey played last night.
Nice.
We just happened to be in the same place at the same time. It
closed the tour, right?
Yeah, it was a tour closer. We got together with Divided Sky Foundation and we did a community service event at John Bon Jovi's Soul Kitchen in the morning. We helped clean out their gardens and clean up their kitchen, and then we shared a meal together. And later in the day, we went and just, you know, did some networking and hanging out. And then that was a 30-song set list last night. Like, Trey played 30 songs, and every single one of those songs was a banger.
Oh,
wow.
Like, if that was a Fish show, it would be like top 5 of all time.
That's cool.
Some of those, the piano work they're doing, the arrangements, it's amazing.
Yeah, it is insane. Hearing acoustic You Enjoy Myself and acoustic Harry Hood, and then a Tweezer reprise at the encore was like, I didn't even know what to like smile or laugh or cry or what. I was just like,
all of it.
Yeah, all of it.
Oh, I did want to tell you guys, you were mentioning, Bill, a second ago about the local sort of support and stuff. Last Saturday, just a couple days ago, I started in Middlebury, where my house is, and made my way down to Connecticut and stopped at a bunch of places along the way to drop off posters and stuff. And more than one person sort of reacted. Obviously, it was all positive reactions, but a number of people were like, "Oh, that's that thing going on in Ludlow." So they didn't necessarily know it was Music on the Mountain, you know. But like once after I talked to them for a second, it clicked, and they were like, "Oh yeah." So it's happening, I think.
Well, I think that's one of the challenges when you put together like a music festival. As I'm sure anybody, you know, listening or watching this knows, there's a lot of options out there. The market is flooded with different music festivals. I feel like this summer I've seen 20 new ones pop up already. So it's like, how do you differentiate yourself? You know, how do you rise above that, especially as I mentioned before, as an independent, you know, where we're not pulling down on, you know, corporate support or any of that to make it work. You know, we had to be, it's really great to get that feedback that it's now people, it's, you know, getting on their radar, because I think once people experience it or hear about it, this is a unique experience. This is special, you know, this is a different thing. And so that's really encouraging to know that word is starting to circulate.
Getting a little buzz there, going, getting the buzz.
I love hearing that. That has been reflected in ticket sales. We are noticing that people are hopping on this earlier this year. So we're moving in the right direction for sure.
Well, and on the personal level, I know, I mean, I came last year with my mother and daughter and my older daughter. This year, my younger daughter will be there. I don't think the older daughter will make it. But I've got an old friend that I grew up with there in Ludlow. He's coming up from New York City with his daughter, and his mom, who's still in the area, is going to join us. I have a new job I started up in Vermont, and a small little team. They're all going to come join us up for the day. So it's a lot of, it's going to be a good time.
That's a great point, though, about the kid-friendly aspect of this, is that having seen a lot of music over the years, I know, and as a parent myself, I know it's tricky to find one where you're like, okay, totally cool with bringing the kid. We both just shared that we have 8-year-olds, Jimmy. So it's like, which festival can you actually bring an 8-year-old to? Like, this, though, when we go out of our way, we have a kids area. It's as kid-friendly of a music event. There is no alcohol sold at this event, so you eliminate all of that. And it really is the ideal scenario to bring your family. You can stay right there, and your kids are going to have a ball. And what a great moment to be able to share, the best music in the world with your children in a totally safe and stress-free environment.
And to add, I don't know if you mentioned this, but it's all done at 8:00.
Yeah.
So you're home hopefully, I think you probably have dessert at the show, but kids are home and in bed, and the next day everybody's pretty well rested and
kids are home. Us 40-year-olds home by 9:00 helps a lot too, man. I was feeling it this morning. 42.
I more and more these days I don't go to shows just because I know I'm gonna want to leave at 7:30. So do I spend the money and drive the hour and a half? But
for this one, you can get your rest and then come join us Sunday morning at 10 a.m. We're doing an acoustic brunch with Jimmy and Brian from Dogs from 10 to noon right there at the resort. Hopefully we'll do it outside, assuming the weather cooperates. So we're doing on Friday night, we're doing the in the round kind of, we're calling it a campfire jam with Anders, Daniel Donato, and Steve Poltz. As of now, we're at capacity there, but we very well might be releasing some more tickets in the coming weeks. The run on Saturday morning, the festival Saturday afternoon. Go get you sleep and come back and hear some killer acoustic music with those two guys. They call the band Murray's Law. And I think they've really only done a handful of performances. So that's a special one, kind of as a send-off as you hit the road and go back home on Sunday.
Something about those guys, I was to go back to the event with Sun Ra in Asbury Park. Obviously, I was seeing Sun Ra do it too, but Jimmy and Brian from Dogs in a Pile just have this like telekinetic language between each other. It's incredible to watch.
It's so fun to see, like, they're both such talented and educated musicians, and with such different personalities and musical characteristics. Like, they couldn't be more opposite from each other as far as guitar players. But when they are in sync, man, they're in sync. Like, they're like made for each other.
Well, that's the thing. And I was watching them actually just the other night. They were streaming from Buffalo, and I was watching it and thinking about them because it's their styles are so wildly different that it's like the perfect combination. Nobody's ever stepping on each other,
It's great to see a band like that coming from, the same general area, connecting when they're super young and building a sound. And it's not just a sound that works amongst themselves. It's a sound that you can bring up. I mean, look, if you can bring the Sun Ra Orchestra in and have it fit like that, that's a really special thing. And I think about having spent so much of my time in New Orleans over the years, a band like Galactic that started when they were all in college in New Orleans, and just, over the years have gotten better and better and tighter, and their musical vocabulary has expanded. And that to me is, like, they're like our house band of New Orleans, whereas Chris at the Jersey Shore, like, you all now have your house band, up there. It's
They just announced a headline show at the Stone Pony Summer Stage this year for the first time. That's huge for them.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we love seeing it.
And been very supportive of our work too. Like with this one, they had been booked. They had a gig on Long Island Saturday night, just to show you their commitment. And so unfortunately, we couldn't have them back at the festival, but they reached out and said, look, we really want to be a part of it. We'll drive up there after the gig Saturday night from Long Island. And if we can figure out something, let's do it. And we talked about it, and we're like, you know what? We're having an acoustic brunch. That's now part of the program. Let's find a way to integrate these guys into it, because like that's what we're looking for. When you have artists like that are committed to the bigger mission, the bigger, movement / cause, you want to embrace that. And they've been huge advocates of our work. Speaking of Galactic, just to sidebar real quickly, I'm a member of the Tipitina's Record Club, which every couple of months, they did this during the pandemic, where they put out basically an unreleased recording. And they, like, the first one was, I think, Professor Longhair live at Tipitina's in 1977, something like that. But the most recent one I just got on Friday is their new record, which is them with Irma Thomas, the great soul singer, soul queen of New Orleans. Man.
Oh, I didn't know that was out. I'll have to listen to that.
Oh, that looks like Ivan Neville, Anders, and Galactic there.
It is. That's part of Galactic. Dragon Smoke.
Oh, that's Dragon Smoke.
Yeah. This was a side. I think maybe until, or maybe it's tied. I'll say it's tied. Seeing the Dogs guys with Sun Ra, this was until then the #1 show that I'd ever seen. This was at FTC, I think. So it's one of those like theater in the round type stages.
Oh, cool.
And literally like just standing on top of Ivan Neville all night while
he's the best.
This is happening. Yeah.
Ivan is the best. Yeah, that band is special. They only play a handful of gigs a year because they all are busy with their own other projects. But that, when they get together, that's serious firepower.
Are all the balloon groups coming back this year?
We have at least 8 confirmed so far, and with 5 more maybes. So we will have more than we had last year.
Wow. So
yeah,
breaking the record again.
Yeah, I mean that's we're gonna grow organically every year as much as we can.
That was one of the highlights for me too, and I do recommend, even if you're not sober and you attend the event, just go, shoot the shit, for lack of a better phrase, with the Yellow Balloon, the guy, the crews up at the Yellow Balloon tents, because some of the most interesting people I've ever talked to, I think. And
people in recovery tend to be pretty interesting, and they tend to have really cool, really interesting stories. I do think it's important to note, then I'll pass it to Chris to do a little snapshot of the work at the Phoenix, is that this event is alcohol-free. It obviously supports work being done in the sobriety / recovery space, but this is not by any means just for people with recovery, who are in recovery. Everybody and anybody is welcome. And I think as we look to the future, this model of like, hey, you can still do a music event and remove the booze from it, and it still works. Mm-hmm. I don't really know of any other event that has taken this on. But for somebody like myself, who's been in long-term recovery for 13 years now, I spent many years struggling with, what show can I go see? Is that going to be too much? I remember the very first show I saw being sober. I I had a beer dropped on my head. It was a rowdy environment. And I was like, oh, is that a sign I'm not ready to be doing this yet? Maybe so. But that's a struggle for those of us, I think, who find sobriety. And so to have an environment that removes that and makes it just about music, community, being together and just being there for what I would say is what it's all about is the music, celebrating great music with one another. That's special, and I'm proud to just be a part of it.
Yeah, and again to note that it's a incredible event that ends at 8 p.m. So if you still want to go out and catch some music down at Killarney's or somewhere in town, you can still do that and grab a pint or something. Another thing I wanted to actually mention is the food. I don't think we talked about that. And last year, pizza. I think I had was there a smoothie guy?
There was a smoothie guy.
I had a smoothie and a pizza.
Did I think I had a pizza with
was killer.
apples? I had pizza with like apples and maple syrup on it or something. And
Yes.
I was kind of hesitant at first, and then I was like, "This is amazing! Why have I not had this before?"
That's what I had, and it was
The only
unbelievable.
thing that was missing was maple creamies. We gotta figure out how
Can't
to.
move that machine.
I know we're gonna have to figure something out. We're gonna
That's a
have to figure-
proprietary piece of equipment, that creaming machine. So one of these days we'll figure out the maple creamies. But I think for me, like coming from New Orleans, where we're about to have our annual Jazz and Heritage Festival, one of the things that makes that event so special is it focuses, there's a lot of local music, obviously, but the food is out of this world, and it's all local vendors. So we thought, okay, doing an event in Ludlow, it's really important that all the vendors that are there are local, part of the community. So yeah, the food is like, it's all locally run businesses, small businesses, and it's all really, really good.
Chris,
Yes,
I
sir.
noticed we talked about you, and I see your shirts. You from the Phoenix, but I noticed your title actually says the Phoenix Presents.
Yes. So
What is that?
part of this was Bill and myself and the rest of our team when we decided like we're gonna produce our own music festival. We wanted something to kind of like set us apart from. So let me give you an overview of what is the Phoenix first. The Phoenix is a nationwide nonprofit organization. Our mission is to build sober, active community that fuels resilience and harnesses the transformational power of connection. So together we rise, recover, and live. And what that means is across the country and in the online space, we have a full virtual schedule of 70 plus classes a week. Anyone can attend a free yoga, CrossFit, meditation, hiking, biking, climbing, chess, book club, whatever events that our volunteers want to put together, completely free. And the only thing that we ask is that when you attend that, you have 48 hours of continuous sobriety. So if you're a person that's identifies as being in recovery from substance use disorder or mental health challenge or any of the various other afflictions that us as humans are recovering from, including the human condition, or are a supporter of someone who is, or you just want to come out and have some sober fun, you can find us all across the country, find our volunteer-led events, download our app. If you visit thephoenix.org, you can find out more about that. We have over 500,000 members. Sometime during this year, we're going to reach 1 million members, which is a really amazing milestone. So when we decided we're going to produce our own music festivals and music events like the Dogs in Space thing in Asbury Park, we decided we needed to kind of like market that a little bit separately and like give it its own spirit, kind of, if that makes sense. So we came up with this idea of like the Phoenix Presents being like the top tier production arm of music and entertainment for the Phoenix. So we do have a new Instagram. It's the Phoenix Presents on Instagram. So please jump on there and follow it. Lots of fun stuff happening there. And if you're interested in volunteering for the music festival, this is a predominantly volunteer-led and supported music event. So all of our volunteers get entry to the festival for free. We're getting shirts for all of them. Starts with just a 2-hour shift, so you can come and volunteer for 2 hours and then go see the rest of the show, or you can do more if you want to do more. If you're interested in volunteering for that, please visit the Music on the Mountain website and sign up to volunteer. We need your support. It's the only way that we're going to be able to keep growing this thing and make sure that everybody has a good time. And yeah,
we're music lovers first and foremost. Chris and I know this is our passion and has been our whole lives. So we're coming at it through that lens. Like, we just love music and grateful for a sober journey in our lives as well. So it's kind of a dream come true to be able to mix those two pieces that are so important to both of us.
Right. And community, right? And like building this, that's what, on top of the music and on top of being in the Green Mountains and on top of our partnership with Divided Sky Foundation, that was the overwhelming vibe that I got last year. Was like all these people came from all over the place and we built a community there. Everybody was friends.
You know what? I just, one final thought, and this hit me last year at Music on the Mountain, somewhere in the middle of the day. You know, we're all running around, making sure everything was running smoothly, doing all the things you got to do. And I looked out and I was like, there's no booze at this event. I'm like, I haven't, because normally if you're in sobriety, you go to a music event, on some level you're navigating that, right? Because it's in your face everywhere. And I was like,
smell it.
Yeah, you know, and I was like, I personally didn't even think about it. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that's a good sign, you know, to create an experience for people where not having alcohol served doesn't feel like you're missing out. That, to me, like, when I had that moment of reflection, I was like, this is a really good sign. I think we might just be onto something here, because it doesn't feel like, oh, there really should be booze here, you know?
Yeah. And as far as I know, it seemed like everybody that came respected.
Completely.
Yeah, for sure. And a bunch of the vendors, we talked to some of the vendors after, especially the woman who's selling the non-alcoholic beverages. And she was like, you know, usually when she does bartending events with alcohol, she's like, everybody starts off great, and by the time that they leave, everybody's an asshole. She's like, this way, like, everyone started off great and they left even greater. Yeah. Like, by the time I knew everybody's name and we were all friends and they were following me on Instagram, and it was amazing. I've never seen anything like it. And that just kind of like summed it all up, exactly what Bill's saying. Like, we can do this. We can have festivals and experiences without alcohol, and be not just as good, but better.
Well, and there is that, like, I'm a pretty, I mean, not on here and not, you know, at shows and stuff, I'm not shy, but I'm a pretty shy person. And what I felt there that day was absolutely that sense that we're all searching for when we go to shows. Is, like, I am with my people. All of these, I don't know them. Everybody here is my friend. You know, we're walking around, like, just passing random people and just smiling a smile. You know, it's a beautiful thing.
And a huge shout out to Divided Sky Foundation and to Trey and the management team, because this is a collective effort. You know, we all came together and recognized that for this to be successful, we all need to kind of be on the same page and work together. And it's just the most amazing group of folks. You know, from Melanie Guide, who's like the co-founder with Trey of Divided Sky, to Andy Bernstein, who's the board chair, to Seth, the new ED, to Ross, their program manager. I mean, all of these people are just wonderful humans. These are the type of people you want to work with. So I would be remiss not to give them a big shout out.
Yes.
It's a special thing when you have a team of people, particularly a small team without corporate pressure, that's really just truly loves the thing that they're all teaming up to do, you know? Yeah. And I think that's reflected in your event. At least most of the events I've been to. Definitely. Yeah,
I think that's like really evident in the conversations that we have during our work too. It's like, it's not like, oh shit, I gotta go to this other meeting. It's like, yo, I'm going to this meeting with like these people that I love, and we're all so aligned on what we want to do, and we're all so passionate about it. Like, everybody's smiling and laughing, like happy to see each other. It's not like, you know, it's not like work. I gotta go to work. So
I'm experiencing that in my new job now, and it's a wonderful thing, and not something that I've felt in a long time as well. So I'm glad you guys have it, and it again really does come through in the product. Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Got it. Thank you guys. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for hopping on, giving us your time.
My pleasure.
One thing I did want to still ask, actually, real quick. Obviously, you are fully enmeshed in this event, but what's going on in the future?
Ooh.
Yeah, so we are, as we've talked about, the Phoenix Presents is going to be a focus within the organization of doing these larger signature events. We're working on a collaboration with a group that's based in Brooklyn called Sound Mind, and they have an actual venue right in the Dumbo neighborhood in Brooklyn. Beautiful venue that holds a couple hundred people.
My daughter created hotkeys for sound effects.
This is so similar to what I deal with at home. It's hilarious. I'm like, who got into my phone? What is this? Like,
I was just trying to search the venue.
So yes, we've been working with SoundMind to create an event there in Brooklyn. We will be partnering with the Newport Folk Festival, helping with their wellness activation, which is like the Mac Daddy, granddaddy of the American Music Festival. They're a great partner because they're all about focus on the music, focus on the community. So a big part of, I think, as we look as to where we're going to activate, who are the people in the music community that are aligned with the vision that we have? And, like people like Steve Poltz, who will be there Friday night, who's been very outspoken about his own, journey in sobriety, Anders Osborne, and the list kind of goes on and on. It's finding those people, those organizations, those musicians that share the same vision and working with them. That's kind of what our year's looking like. So there'll be more to come, but for sure, if you end up at Newport Folk, come see us.
All right, gentlemen. I think we've discussed it all, and I cannot wait till the next time I see your faces on the side of that mountain.
Likewise.
So yeah, please, everybody watching this, take a look at your calendars, see if you can join us up in Vermont at Okemo Mountain, at the Jackson Gore Resort side of the mountain on May 17th.
We'll see you there.
We'll be there.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Right, thank you, guys. I really
see you soon.
Yeah, great to see you.